Reclaiming the holiness of darkness. The first lie we learn as children is that good and bad live on opposite sides of the soul. We are rewarded for our light, our smiles, our politeness, our obedience, and punished for our shadow. Our tears, our anger, our defiance. Slowly, we begin to believe that love must be earned by hiding what is real. That is how the shadow is born, not as evil, but as an exiled truth. In psychology, the shadow is the part of the psyche that holds what we deny, we reject, we suppress. But in spiritual terms, it is something far greater. It's the unmet God within, the pieces of divinity that pushed underground because someone else was scared. Your rage may hold your courage. Your jealousy may contain your desire for greatness. Your shame might be protecting your tenderness. To see the divine in disguise means to look at these emotions not as enemies, but as messengers wearing dark robes. The psychology of repression. When a child expresses anger and is met with rejection, that anger does not disappear. It goes underground. It's stored in the nervous system. When you are shamed for crying, your grief buries itself in the muscles of your throat. When you are told, be nice instead of honest, your boundaries are erased, and your authenticity hides behind your smile. This repression forms what Jung called the personal shadow, a container for all that is deemed unacceptable. And the more we repress, the more unconsciousness begins to rule our lives. We start projecting these traits onto others, judging them what we cannot accept in ourselves. The coworker who acts superior might simply mirror the unalived confidence. The friend who triggers your envy might be embodying the boldness you secretly crave. This is the sacred paradox. Your triggers are your teachers. Your shadow is your map home. The spiritual law of polarity. Everything in creation exists through duality, light and dark, birth and decay, inhale, exhale. Yet we keep trying to live only in half of that spectrum. We meditate, we cleanse, and pray to escape our human chaos, not realizing that God is in presence in both the rising and the falling. In Kabbalah, this is known as the balance between Hesed, mercy, and Gevurah, severity. Without shadow, there is no depth. Without contrast, there is no recognition of the light. To deny your darkness is to deny half of your divinity. The soul evolves not by escaping the human experience, but by fully inhibiting every descent. You endure every heartbreak, every mistake, every moment of raw emotion is a door to a deeper consciousness. Alchemy teaches that gold is not created by avoiding the fire. It is created within. So too, the soul's gold emerges when we face the heat of our own emotions with consciousness. The next time you feel jealous, ask what that jealousy is trying to reveal about you, about your desires. When you feel ashamed, ask what part of you is longing to be seen and loved. When you feel rage, ask what boundary has been violated or what truth you've been silenced. Every dark emotion is an invitation, an initiation. Your shadow is not your curse. It is your curriculum. The first step in transmuting the shadow is simple, but profound. Stop seeing it as a sin and start seeing it as a signal. This is how we begin to work. The work of the holy integration. The work of remembering that the divine never left. It is just learned to hide in the dark. How the self fragments and forgets the wholeness before you learned words like God, love, and good girl. You were pure instinct, light, emotion, and truth moving freely through a small body. You cried when you hurt. You laughed when you were delighted. You reached when you were curious. There was no shame in your expression. There was only being. Then came the gaze, the reflection of the world through other people's eyes. a parent sighing at your anger, a teacher scolding your daydreaming, a friend mocking your tears. Each reaction taught your nervous system a lesson. That's how the self begins to fracture. The parts that win approval are kept in the light. The parts that bring punishment are cast into the shadow. The shadow is not born from evil, it is born from rejection. It is the graveyard of unalived truths. The psychological formation of the shadow. Carl Jung described the shadow as the unconscious aspect of the personality which the conscious ego does not identify with. In simple terms, it's everything you deny, repress, or hide, not because it's bad, but because it's unacceptable. The child's psyche is not built to handle rejection, so it adapts. To keep love, it buries the part of itself that feels unlovable. To stay safe, it trades authenticity for acceptance. Over time, these buried emotions don't disappear, they simply go underground. They show up as unexplained anxiety, resentment towards others, sudden emotional reactions, or the haunting sense that you're too much or not enough. This is what psychologists call repression, the unconscious defense mechanism that hides painful truths from awareness. It keeps you safe as a child but stuck as an adult. Because the shadow doesn't vanish, it waits for consciousness to remember it. The brain's role in repression from a neuropsychological view, the limbic system, especially the oblongata, stores emotional memories linked to threat. When you're a child, you experience shame, say a parent mocking you for crying. Your brain marks that emotional state as dangerous. So the next time tears arise, your body automatically shuts down. To prevent rejection, it becomes emotional loops. Feeling, fear, suppression, disconnection. The result is emotional numbness, anxiety, or perfectionism. You learn to survive by becoming something you're not. The archetypes of shadow formation. Every shadow has a story. Here are 3 common patterns. The good child, always polite, quiet, and helpful, suppresses anger, defiance, or desire. Adult results, struggles with boundaries, guilt, or people-pleasing. The performer craves approval through achievement or beauty, suppresses vulnerability or imperfection. Adult results, exhaustion, imposter syndrome, fear of failure. The rebel resists authority to preserve self-expression, suppresses sensitivity or dependence. Adult results, isolation, mistrust, or emotional volatility.